Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace and blessings. Welcome to today's episode of the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. We are going to travel nearly 4.6 billion miles from the sun, way out to Pluto, and even deeper into ourselves. And we'll explore how this tiny, icy world at the edge of our solar system mirrors the concentrated, accelerated evolution of a new being and a new people. So be a friend, tell a friend, and tune in. Let's just talk. See you in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided Thee right, and preserve. O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided Thee right, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserved to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're tuned into the Sajdah channel, and this is the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talk. Before we do anything, I want to remind you to go to the Art and Science of Business.com. It's not it's Art and Science of Business.com. I wrote it like that, but there's no spaces in there, so you all can see it. Art and Science of Business.com. This is my draft copy. That's why it's got this line across. Yours won't have that. But get the book. Okay. There's a lot of what I'm talking about in terms is the back, in terms of business, that is in the book. We got some upcoming tours coming up. So you got to get the book. You got to get the book. So today, y'all ready to go to Mars with me? Pluto, Mars, Pluto, somewhere far with me. When we are working on, which we're going to be getting out to you very soon, a play, okay, that combines an episode of The Messenger's Residence that I did. This particular episode is called The Messenger's Footsteps. And it's a little chronicling of my journey down to Georgia and to his birthplace. So we're going to be merging that with a Reader's Theater presentation produced by the Mahdi Theater Company called I Met with God. And it's very powerful. And I got the blessed opportunity to read some of the narration on the history of Master Sajdah Muhammad. And this whole concept of Pluto came to me. And I say, you know what, let's go to Pluto today, because I have an interest in this stuff, because I took an astronomy class. I'm not talking about astrology, okay, which we know is not something that we get off into, but astronomy, where we're just talking about the study of the stars and the planets and, you know, all of that in the universe and how it lines up and how the alignment of the planets and the movement of the planets create energies, collective energies on each planet, specifically here on Earth. And Master Sajdah Muhammad so brilliantly, when he came to North America and found us in 1930, gave us the sun, moon, and stars. And I know some of this, to some people, y'all like, what? They are crazy, but this is what it is. Because, you know, I started off the conversation saying to you to get this book, okay, where we're talking about the art and science of business. And the way out or through the next level for us as a people is through the study of what is happening in the macro universe. See, a lot of us are dealing with, and rightfully so, the fruit or the byproduct of what is happening in the macro universe. We don't know who we are. And so we think that we are just a being that is restricted to this planet, to our city, to our neighborhood, to our church, to our marriage, to our community. And what we don't know, what we don't always realize, and we're not always conscious of, is that Allah uses us to make himself known and to express something. And so as we travel on earth, we get attached to things. I'm going to be married for the rest of my life. I'm going to have this house for the rest of my life. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But it's a sense of a subconscious or a conscious unawareness of who, in fact, we are, right? Because since we don't know who we are, we think that these things in our lives are permanent. And we're so fixated to it that we disconnect ourselves from the macro universe and what is happening. And so when we look at the news, we see what's happening and we're like, oh my God, I don't know. It's gloom and doom. What in the world? Because we think that our only solution is what is happening in the small little world that we live in. But if you and I are the makers and the owners and the cream of the planet Earth, and if we believe that Allah came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad and surveyed the universe and gave that to us. How many of you all have properties? There's a survey that you get when you buy a property or when you're given a property. It's a survey. And so that survey was given to us. We had to memorize that survey coming into the Nation of Islam. So the idea that we're memorizing that survey doesn't bode well with us thinking that this space and time that we're living in is the only reality. And so we are literally pinching ourselves off from what Allah has for us. So when we talk about the art, the science of business, I make a lot of references to a power bigger than ourselves, a power outside of ourselves. How do we reconnect to the evolution and the revolution of the planets, right? So that we're riding a wave, because all of this is cycles. And I've been studying this book by, her last name is Flynn, and she talks about how the evolution, the ebb and flow of the planet Pluto aligns directly to serious earthly events. And this cycle that we're in began in around 1860. And what's interesting is that this is what made me think about it. When Master Fard Muhammad said that the scientists of this world were allowed to discover the planet Pluto around 1930, that's when they were able to begin to mark the time and see where we are in the cycle. And as Pluto comes down south of what they call the declination, which happened, I think, September 21st, when Pluto went into Virgo, now we're moving into a space where evolution, massive evolution, begins. And I'm going to post some videos so that you all can see how the history of the earth ties to the planets. Now, we're not talking about astrology. We're talking about astronomy. All right. So, I want to travel 4.6 billion miles with you today. 4.6 billion miles from the sun out to Pluto and even deeper within ourselves. I want us to explore how this tiny, icy world at the edge of our solar system actually mirrors the concentrated, accelerated evolution of a new human being. So today's talk, I may lose some of you all. Y'all may say, I ain't getting the book, but that's okay. It's a chance we take, right? Today, I want to take a journey into frequency, love, vision, transformation. I want to look at the discovery of the planet Pluto and then the so-called demotion of the planet Pluto that happened in 2006, where all of a sudden they said, Pluto ain't a planet no more. And what does all this celestial drama teach us about stepping into our authentic power? Okay. Welcome to everyone who's tuned in. Ooh, I see y'all thinking today. All right. Okay. So Pluto, the planet Pluto, or Platoon, as it's referred to in our lesson, it lives at the furthest reaches of our solar system, 4.6 billion miles from the sun. It is likely cold, dim, but it's very potent. And it carries the energy of transformation, justice, death, rebirth. And those who study astronomy talk about how, or astrology, Pluto isn't necessarily about superficial change. It's about a deep soul level metamorphosis. It's the archetype of a hidden power of an underworld that has to be confronted in order for rebirth to occur. Okay. So I want us to think about our own lives, specifically those of us that are here as Black people in America, and how that the cycle of Pluto and this particular cycle that we're in that began right around the Civil War, and how the coming of Master Sajdah Muhammad gave us this survey and then gave us tools and strategies to become a new person. Okay. So the Western science world, as Master Sajdah Muhammad said to us, was allowed to discover the planet Pluto around 1930, which is the same year that he found us. Now, that's not a random synchronicity. Just as humanity's telescope turned outward and glimpsed into Pluto's world, a spiritual telescope turned inward to reveal the presence of a teacher who would awaken a sleeping people. The discovery of Pluto, it's more than basic astronomy. It really marked the beginning of a new cycle of power, a new transformation, self-knowledge. For those who could see, I would say it was a cosmic signal. And that cosmic signal went out into the universe, and you began to see a concerted effort to stop this transformation. Because who in their right mind would try to attack and kill people who were and are trying to help a group of people who have been through the worst of the worst, trying to help them to get better. Who would say, I don't like that? But that cosmic signal, I believe, for those that could see and those who picked up the signal and those who study this stuff, kicked off the attacks against the more severe attacks against the, let me say it this way, the systemic attack. Because see, before that, I think I'm speculating, after the Civil War, and then you went into that era where we began to separate and build our own towns, and there was hatred, and there was clan activity, and there was a lot of that. But it had just started to become systemic. So you had little thug groups of people burning crosses in people's yards and burning down towns. And then once it started to ignite, then the system kicked in and said, oh, we didn't see them burn down your town. We didn't see that person get murdered. Now, all of a sudden, we have these slew of systems that are participating in this freedom or economic genocide, if you will. And I know this is a lot, y'all, so bear with me, but this came to me. I got to get this off. Here's the real secret. Your and my frequency has to be controlled in order to stop this evolution of the development of this new person. It's our frequency that creates our vision. Your frequency, my frequency, our frequency is dictated by our emotions. How do we react emotionally to the external stimuli that happens in our lives? Most of the time, things that we can't control. Does it create fear? Did something happen that made you angry? Did something happen that made you resentful, embarrassed, or feeling ashamed? A lot of these are low frequency states that distort our sight. But there's one frequency, which we talk about on this show a lot. There's one frequency that transcends and neutralizes that distortion, and it's the frequency of love. This is why one of the reasons I believe that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb, because the love, and we got to understand love and what that means. You can go back and look at some of the other shows that I did, but the love embedded in that unity will neutralize those distortions. It'll lift our perfection and become the lens through which we can see more clearly, and then we'll collectively create a vibration and a power that will impact the entire universe. See, one of the reasons why we can't see beyond the destruction of what is happening in the world today, it is because of our vision that's been distorted, because we are responding in fear and anger and being upset. We feel like we should be worried. Everything's low vibrational emotions. But did you know that the earth holds so many countless benefits? There are energies in the earth that can save us. There are minerals that we haven't even yet discovered. There are lands of fertile soil. There's healing in the universe. There's spaces on the planet where you can go and heal yourself. But because our collective frequency has been so low, we don't perceive them. And so therefore we don't hear about them in the news. We don't research about them. But there are people in the world who go to these spaces and meditate because they've elevated their frequency and their eyes have opened. When your eyes open, you become more creative to a solution. We can't see ourselves out of oftentimes the condition that we're in because our eyes are squinted and focused on, narrowly focused on a specific solution. What I'm opening us up to here in this book, The Art and Science of Business, is to say that we can be creative in developing and accessing solutions to our economic problem. When your eyes open, you see resources, you see opportunities, you see solutions that you couldn't see before. This is the essence of the concentrated, accelerated evolution of a new human, a new way of seeing, a new way of thinking, a new way of living, a new way of being, a new way of interacting to one another. Concentrated, focused, creates this acceleration that now the planets are going to help us to evolve. This is not science fiction. It's a present day choice that we have to make to vibrate higher, to think differently, to see differently. And I know it's hard because there's so many things happening in our lives that are scary. But we have to see these things because there are other people who are strategizing to prevent this accelerated evolution, who caught the cosmic signal. And they making moves based on that cosmic signal. This also came to me. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union actually stripped the planet Pluto of what is called its planetary status. They said it no longer fit the definition of a planet. Either it's a planet or it's not, right? We believe it's a planet because Master Prophet Muhammad told us it was a planet. Did Pluto change? What changed? Pluto is what it is. It's the label that shifted. And what I believe is the cosmic signal of Pluto's existence and its positioning, that signal explained and showed to somebody who showed it to somebody that said the key, these people are going to rise with the evolution of this planet Pluto. This evolution of the planet Pluto is a signal of the rise of a new people. It's a cycle. Everything on Earth is a cycle. When you study history, you understand that everything's a pattern. It's a cycle. And so I think when they saw this profound spiritual mirror, they thought, well, we'll play God. And if we just say Pluto ain't a planet no more, then it'll change what Pluto is signaling, which is crazy, right? See, Pluto rules the hidden. It rules the marginalized. It rules the underestimated. It signals that. It's like a cosmic signal to that which has been marginalized, underestimated, demonized. So when they demoted it, they thought they were trying to tie something that was happening on Earth to that demotion. See, truth doesn't depend on recognition. You are who you are, even when titles, labels, and positions are taken away. Pluto's influence and the messaging of the planet Pluto didn't change. That was in 2006. In 2006, it was a pivotal year for the Nation of Islam and for our beloved Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who publicly at that time shared the seriousness of his illness. He was very transparent. He was very courageous. He was very vulnerable. Responding, I felt like, I remember watching that and saying, this is a cosmic signal. I hadn't put it all together, but I just said, this is a cosmic signal. So the question becomes, who is he and what did they do to him that made them think that at the same time we've done that, it's a done deal. Now we're going to change the categorization of this thing they call Pluto. And it's a wrap. Now there's no more transformation. It's no more. But again, like I said, the title, what you call it, doesn't change. And just because somebody or somebody's may be God of this world doesn't mean that they're God of the world. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Those of y'all that can see and hear, y'all know what I'm trying to say. But what if they misread what they needed to do in demoting Pluto and created an initiation? Something that invites us to further shed the need for external validation, to reclaim the power within us. See, just like Pluto orbits into darkness, so does our potential remain hidden until we go inside. I was listening to one podcast and the woman was saying that the planets were moving at different speeds. And I'm like, oh man, you're so wrong. They all travel at the rate of 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. So no matter what label you put on them, they're still going to travel and they're still obeying a cosmic law that you can't change. So if you come down here on Earth and you think, okay, I've done something to this beautiful man of God and it's going to make a difference, it's going to change something, that's not going to change. Just like you can't stop or change the speed with which the planets are moving, you can't change the speed with which God is ushering in a new being, a new people on the planet Earth. Okay. So when I say that the book is a supplement to what we could already be doing, if you follow a particular economic development, or you've been hosting, wealth building and all of that, and you're like, I ain't getting into nothing new. This ain't necessarily nothing new. It's a supplement. But it is a new way of thinking. It's a new way of incorporating the art and science in business into our evolution and transformation as a people. Now, how do we deal with this? We have to be mindful of our frequencies. And I know these are back to the basics, practicing gratitude and love daily, because these are emotions that shift our frequency and change our perception. They sharpen our vision. It adjusts our vision. You know how when you go to the eye doctor, they're clicking that thing and you can see sharper. That's what it's doing. What's the Pluto in your life? What aspects of yourself or your circumstances have been underestimated or hidden? How much of what is happening here are you so busy trying to stop or hold on to or change or resist, as opposed to being like the minister in 2006 who was very vulnerable, very open, very transparent in terms of what was happening in his own personal life? How many of us need to step into our own power without needing recognition? I found that when you have a power that you're not recognizing, you get all these people who are opposing your power. People who are saying this and saying that. And I decided yesterday, I said, you know what? It is what it is. Whatever people going to do, they're going to do it. Whatever they're going to say, they're going to say it. I'm going to remove my hand, and whatever the universe decides, however Allah decides to deal with them because of their thoughts and their mind, there's nothing I can do about that. Because real transformation begins internally first. I just have to know, things like it's like your life being a musical score, right? You get to choose how you want to play that music. Is it with an orchestra? What kind of vibe you want to do it with? Or do you just want to do it with drums? And so stepping into my own personal power means, in a sense, you can't protect everybody. You can't control people. I'm not a real controlling person, but I do think that sometimes when our ego gets activated in situations, there becomes an attempt to control. Let go and let God. And sometimes letting go and letting God can be scary because you know that there might be some kind of negative blowback for yourself or somebody else, but you just got to kind of go forward. And I just said, I'm going forward in gratitude and love, and I'm going to pull and extract from everybody around me and that I can. Love and gratitude. I'm going to shine as much light as I possibly can on those around me that come in contact, that buy my book, that come to my projects, my work I'm doing, whatever it is. And hopefully that's enough to jumpstart each of us. And we can't try to control, even if they're our family members, friends, cousins, people that we're really close to. We want the best. We see so much potential. We get so excited about who we believe they can become, but they got to see it. And we can't upset ourselves trying to see for them what they can't see for themselves. See, this is how we accelerate our evolution. This is how we become that new human capable of seeing and utilizing the hidden treasures of the universe, of the earth, and the hidden treasures of our own soul. We have to practice gratitude, practice love, and be very strategic about how we flow and how we move. Okay? And I really want this episode to be a reminder for us. Yeah, that's right, Brother Ronald. Don't get distracted. Stay focused. Because there's so many things that are happening in our lives that I believe are designed to be distractions. That's just my belief system. They're designed to be distractions, and we have to go, I'm not going to be distracted. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I'm going to continue to be grateful. I'm going to continue to be loving. I'm going to continue, and knowing that, y'all, the universe is on our side. We are now in a period of the evolution of the planets that represent transformation and reformation. We're lined up now. And anybody who studies these planetary effects will tell you that. Seriously. We're lined up now. So now it's time to accelerate that by not just sitting back hoping that it's going to happen or saying, okay, I'm not going to worry about it, but by getting the information that we need so that we can study. And what you're going to find is when you start reading and listening and adjusting your algorithm on social media so that certain things pop up, those certain things will pop up at the time that you need it and will spark literally like an evolution in your mind. But I know it's hard, but we got to pull out of the gloom and doom. We got to pull up out of the things that are happening to us personally and be a God and know that there's a power out here bigger than all of that. All right, family, that's all I got today. It was a lot, but I don't even want to talk too long because it was a lot. And hopefully this sparks for you all to study. I'll put the link out on my social media for the book that I think you all should read and get, and some of the podcasts you should listen to about the evolution of the planet Pluto and what it means. And those of us that are woke, we will catch the cosmic signal and we will hear what that means for our evolution as a people. But we are entering the phase of a concentrated, orchestrated evolution of a new human being. And I could go into Fall of America and all of that, but keep that in mind. All right, family. So stay close to everything. We're going to be announcing the play soon. We're going to be talking about that. I want you to go and grab the book. Go to artandscienceofbusiness.com. No spaces. I just wrote it like that so you can see it. artandscienceofbusiness.com. If you want to support the movement, support what we're working on. I always like to say these platforms and all of this stuff isn't free. Printing things, putting stuff together, it costs money. And so we ask that you support. You can Cash App Sajdah Enterprises. You can do it that way. Let me see. I think I may have. There it is. artandscienceofbusiness.com. That's it there. You can Cash App Sajdah Enterprises to support the movement. But, while I love donations, I love it when y'all hit the super chat button and all of that. But I want you to get something for what you give. Get the book. Get a commemorative Elijah coin. Get you something that can spiritually and physically remind you of that new life, that new mindset. And if making that donation reminds you of that, I'm certainly open to that as well. Okay. Don't forget, we have sponsorships available. We got the play you can sponsor. You can become a sponsor at the house. There's a number of things. If you have more questions, you can always email me, sajdahhouse@gmail.com. I'm happy to explain. We've got some great things coming up. And I just want you all to stay close so you don't miss it. Okay. Peace and blessings, family. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Ronald. Thank you. May Allah continue to bless each and every one of you. Be a blessing in somebody's life today. And remember, it's not vibrational, it's personal.